good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're watching. Welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. You know the drill. We're retired New York City police detectives and 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. If you like all things true crime related from the police detective's perspective, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you get all things DutyRon and this guy over here, Ed Wallace, in Morocco, when we go live or upload another video. Today, we're going to talk about Jennifer Soto. Should she be charged with anything in the case of her daughter, Madeline Soto? And that's going to be the conversation. It's being discussed in many different corners across the internet, on Reddit, and all over the place. And Ed Wallace, there he is, showing the multi-faceted colored curtains and patterns and so forth. Ed, how you doing? Memorial Day, they don't celebrate that in Morocco, but I know you do. What did you do for Memorial Day today, Ed?
Well, U.S. Embassy does. They shut down while myself and my compadres here, we had to work. So I had to go visit the gendarmerie, the Royal Gendarmerie Forensic Lab today, and meet the director and all the big muckety mucks.
Look at this comment right here, Ed. Princess Mitch. He comes in with a comment. Ed got tired of all the drape comments. Laughing out loud.
That's right. That's right. You know, I had to push the drapes off to the side, Princess.
Yeah, Ed, we were taking a lot of heat in the comment section about the drapes, and now you got the plain pattern, and people don't like the plain pattern. But as we know, you can't please everybody, and that comes into play here in this case of Madeline Soto. You can't please everybody, right?
You come to a true crime channel, and all you want to do is talk about my drapes.
Yeah,
and they're not even mine. I'm in a freaking hotel room in Rabat.
Yeah. Fire Opal says Ed was rocking those drapes. LOL. Yeah. I want to pull the chat quick before we get into this, because I have like a small piece that involves a judge and a former prosecutor. But before we do that, I want to pull the panel. I mean, how many people here in the live chat feel that, and seriously, I'm asking this question seriously, how many people here in the live chat feel that Jennifer Soto has some type of culpability as it pertains to the crimes perpetrated against her daughter, whether it is child neglect, aiding and abetting, helping her significant other remove her body? Because now we don't know how she got out of that house. And Ed and I, we talked about this extensively in previous streams. What happened to Madeline Soto? So let us know either yes or no. Do you feel that Jennifer Soto, and I'll put her up on the screen as much as I don't want to, Jennifer Soto, this is Madeline Soto's mom. Does she have some explaining to do? Should she be charged? And what should the charges be? And look, Eileen puts in all of the above. I just saw it. It went away fast, but she said all of the above. I don't think there's many people who are fans of Jennifer Soto, but I know that in any crime case, any true crime case, including some heinous ones like Chris Watts and, so many different ones. I could just go on and on. I don't want to muddy the waters here, but there's always people who are fans and are cheerleaders for the bad guys. And Ed and I are never fans or cheerleaders for the bad guys. Look, Brian Kohlberger has a whole fan club of people who think that he's innocent and they got the wrong guy. I mean, I wait for the trial to commence, but I do not put on a cheerleading outfit and cheer for the bad guys. Ed, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, this happens all the time. Then these people end up getting pen pals in prison and marriage proposals. And I mean, freaking Rolling Stone put the Sign-Off brother, the Boston bomber that survived, on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. And then there was a whole group of people saying, "No, this guy is innocent," and
right.
And he's got a cult following, and people are sending him love letters in prison. It's just crazy.
Despicable. I mean, I say to the Rolling Stone magazine who put that article up there,
pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
That was very, very fitting for the moment. But okay, so a lot of people are, again, on the side and feel like, well, why are you picking on Jennifer Soto? Why are you picking on this woman? Well, she's given us a lot of ammo, Ed, to pick on her. And
Well,
we're
it's
not.
not. It's not that we're picking on her. She opened her mouth, and in doing so, you have the right to remain silent, and then anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. So, and she obviously didn't consult an attorney.
And
She made.
you said that statement like you've said that many times, Ed.
Oh yeah, many times, and then the bracelets are always going click click as I'm saying this.
Mhm.
But the she made statements to the press. Free will. No one told her she had to make statements to the press,
Numerous times.
right? And she made all these statements, and some of these statements make her culpable of crimes. Okay, she said she allowed her child to sleep with this man in a separate bedroom. Okay, if that's not what child endangerment, or if that's not what is it,
Endangering the welfare of a child.
the welfare of a minor,
Yeah,
I don't know what is. Okay, she made statements about having seen her child in the morning. Well, now those statements are now provable false.
absolutely.
She's got to answer out to what her role is in this.
100%. And we're gonna cover that here in this hour topic conversation that we're having. And on the screen is going to just be a little bit of what we just spoke about. And we're going to listen to our friend Vinnie Politan kind of break down for a couple of minutes here thoughts on Jennifer Soto and whether or not she has some explaining to do. And I think we all know she does.
We dropped her off at school, close to school.
And there it is in the first statement, Ed, exactly what you just talked about. One of her interviews. We dropped her off at school, close to the school.
None of this is true. None of this is true.
She's correcting herself right out of the gate. In that, we will all listen to this interview so many times, but it's liquid gold to hear it because she contradicts the story constantly. And
No, she can be an accessory after the fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Like she's covering for a murder.
And that's exactly what it seems like. And most of us who are watching this, and you don't even need to be a detective or a retired detective. You watch this as a regular lay person, and common sense prevails. She is lying. She is telling a story that's not true. When she told police that she saw her daughter at 8 something, they know that she was on film, on camera, inside his car at 7:19 or 7 something, lifeless inside the car, leaning. So how did Jennifer Soto see her off?
All of the stuff she's about to say is wrong about seeing her in the bed in the morning, seeing what clothing she was wearing. Nothing jives. Nothing is true. It's maybe, unless she's going to, she'll take a George Costanza plea at trial. It's not a lie if you believe it.
Right. And I think she believes, and so does her disgusting piece of human garbage boyfriend. The subhuman Stephan Sterns believes his own lies as well, and those are some of the worst. You know how many criminals Ed and I could tell you when we initially interview them will tell us, "I didn't do anything," and then come to find out, evidence and video of them actually plunging a knife into somebody. So
shooting up a nightclub, I've seen it all. Yeah.
Exactly.
We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. She was spotted walking by the church, by the middle school on the cameras. They saw her hang out in the parking lot for a little bit and then get up and leave. They didn't see a vehicle or anything else. They just saw her walk away around 9 a.m. heading towards the school. But she never made it.
None of that is true, by the way. None of it. That's Madeline's mom, Jen Soto.
This is one of the reasons I love to listen to Vinnie Politan. And he has his own YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description. But here he is on court TV. And that statement that he just made is exactly what we're all thinking. It's exactly what we all are thinking. And I'm going to play it back just one more time.
None of that is true, by the way. None of it.
I love it.
That's Madeline's mom, Jen Soto, speaking at WFTV down in Orlando. None of that is true. Like, it's all false. Now, was it based upon what Stephan Sterns was telling her? Did they together come up with the story? I don't know. But this story is completely devoid of any truth.
It's hogwash is what it is, right, Ed?
Well, it could be worse than that. I mean, she could be telling this story, to protect her boyfriend, and who knows what he has on her.
Yeah.
But what it does is it hinders the investigation from the get-go. Your daughter is missing, right? And if you got this story from your boyfriend, who you at this time, maybe let's just give it the benefit of doubt. She doesn't know that her boyfriend murdered her daughter, okay? And she believes the monster that he dropped her off. First he asked her if he wanted McDonald's, went by McDonald's, and then he dropped her off by the church. I love you too, blah, 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 blah. And he sees her walking to the school, right? Which is all not true, all right? So she goes out there and she starts making these comments, and you got volunteers that are running out there to help her, and they're going 100 miles an hour and going in different directions, and she's got the police jumping through hoops, and it's all a lie, and it causes misdirection, and it causes wasted time and effort on what needed to be done.
Yeah. And we've seen in the past some people in some jurisdictions go after some of these folks, and they're mostly not successful in this because you can't get nothing out of something, somebody who has nothing. But, we've seen jurisdictions go and try to recoup money from folks who turns out to be convicted of crimes, and put them on wild goose chases. And we were going crazy about it. In the Brian Laundrie saga, we felt that the Dirty Laundrie family should have been charged all of that money, that all of those members of the service and those assets and resources that were in that Myakkahatchee P reserve, and looking through the alligator infested waters and so forth. It's the same kind of concept here with these people, because they basically came up with this conjured up story about her, and it made me sick to my stomach when I heard Stephan Sterns in the audio interview say, I tried to go to McDonald's, but she wasn't having it. It made me realize after the fact that, like, he's talking like he's trying to coax her into doing something she didn't want to do. And that was his crazy mind making up that stupid story. We know that they never went to McDonald's, but he kept saying, I tried to sell her on it and she wasn't having it. Like, really, guy? I mean, come on. Despicable. Vinny goes on to bring on a prosecutor and a former judge, and they say some interesting things, because he asks them outright, should Jennifer Soto be charged with a crime? So I want our audience to hear this, because I think that this is really interesting to hear it from people in the professions. So let's take a listen to this.
Now, that's what she told the media. Let's get into what she is telling investigators, because I think that's a little bit more important, right? No attack of we in the media, but what you tell investigators carries a little more weight. So Jen Soto completed a sworn written statement to the Orange County deputies to the following. Jen Soto stated on 2/26/24 at approximately 0800 hours, she saw Madeline getting ready for school. 8 o'clock in the morning, she saw her daughter getting ready for school. 8 a.m. approximately, okay? Now, let's go through some of the other pieces.
So this is, I actually, Ed, in one of our previous shows, we've actually put this whole thing up, because this is the actual sworn affidavit, and they break down a lot of things. And in the later pages on this document is where it gets really disgusting and despicable, because they actually spell out all the crimes that Stephan Sterns committed. And but he's talking about her inconsistencies here, and this is her interview on February 26, 2024 at 2000 hours, which is 8 o'clock at night on the East Coast.
Of the timeline that investigators have in this case. Sterns is spotted at 8:10. A license plate reader captured Stephan's vehicle with Florida tag, driving away from the school at 8:10. The school is like 20 minutes away. It's about 20 minutes away or so. And he's driving away from the school back towards Kissimmee where they live at 8:10. Again, she said she saw Madeline getting ready for school at 8. What else do we know? The sheriff.
You know what's amazing about this photo, Ed, and I'm sorry I keep stopping this, but these thoughts are in my mind. If you didn't know anything about this case and you just saw this photo, right off the bat, he definitely looks creepy, but I don't see anything like in my eyes where it would stand out to me like, oh, there's something wrong here. You have a smiling mom, a smiling daughter, and this guy with the glasses holding out his phone, taking this selfie. And then there was another image that he posted with him taking a picture of a selfie or some type of picture. And in the glasses, you saw Madeline walking in front of him. But do you pick up on, I mean, would you pick up on anything here? I don't think so, right?
Well, you know, you can't, like they say, you can't judge a book by its cover, right? I mean, if you look at this photo, everybody, you know, seems to be a happy, and again, we know that they're American, but if you didn't know, you just see these three would appear to be happy people.
Right.
Okay. And meanwhile, you know, it's anything but. All right. He's a pedophile and an evil demonic person, and she is the useful idiot.
Yeah, sanctioning him sleeping in a separate room with her daughter. And you know, I don't know the exact date of this photo. I mean, she looks younger here, but we now know that for some 7 years, some odd years, he was raping Madeline Soto, and that is despicable. Diane Hubbard says, Ron and Ed, do you think he could have drugged Maddie?
That's possible. We'll find out in the toxicology.
Right, and now the toxicology won't be probably publicly released, but during the trial, we'll hear about that. And I would say I'd bet my pension on it that this savage gave her psychotropic medications or date rape type drugs to keep her kind of lethargic and not fighting him off, either in the beginning, middle, or at end, or the whole time. I would bet my pension on it.
The Orange County Sheriff spoke about a couple other pieces of the timeline. Take a listen.
We have video evidence that shows Stephan Sterns discarding items in a dumpster in that apartment complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26. Detectives later recovered Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop from that dumpster. At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stephan Sterns returning to the complex and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time.
And again, it brings me back to, I'll bring me and you back on, Ed, to that description he didn't talk about there, but the description that's now out, that Madeline was leaning towards the driver's side, not leaning up against the door, indicative of somebody who was deceased. As a seasoned crime scene investigator, Ed, you know, when you see the evidence doesn't lie. And I mean, if the evidence doesn't jive to what the story is being told by Jennifer Soto herself, she said she saw her daughter at around 8 o'clock, and that's not possible.
Nope. It's you know, so then you have to wonder what the motive is and why she's lying. Okay, and she needs to be held responsible for those lies. Now, unfortunately, we are not like the federal agents that have a federal code of regulations 1001 lying to us. If you give if you make a false statement to the police while we're conducting an investigation in the federal system, and that lie is substantial and it hurts the investigation because it sends you in a wrong direction or something to that effect, then they can be charged with that. But most local and state law enforcement don't have those laws where, you know, you can charge for being lied to.
Right. And it's hard, like, because we had that a lot when false reports would get made in the NYPD. I'd always say in my rookie times when I was a patrol officer, I'd be like, why don't these people get locked up when they're calling in fake shots fired or fake stabbings or fake person killed or shot? And now we know that someone's doing this or filing a false report against somebody else, and we never would see the DA bring those charges for filing a false police report. I'm assuming that the district attorney's office just feels like these are charges that are difficult to prove in a court of law. So, I mean,
I would think just the opposite.
Yeah, I would too, but I'm just saying I witnessed it myself as a New York City police officer, and I would say all the time to my sergeants, like, why aren't they arresting these people? And the DA just wouldn't decline, just wouldn't take the case. So it's crazy, but and I'm not saying this is a blanket for everything here, but in this situation, Madeline Soto slumped over towards the left side, leaning in left towards the driver, towards Stephan Sterns. And for this sheriff to sit up at the podium and say, we know that she was not alive. And then we hear further information indicating that they know for sure that she was not alive. There's a lot of this puzzle that needs to be put back together, that they're not going to open their case and put it out there, the intricate and the finer details, Ed. They're not going to show that, and that's going to be for a court of law. No.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Let's let the rest of this play, folks.
They show Stephan Sterns discarding items in a dumpster in that apartment complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26th. Detectives later recovered Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop from that dumpster. At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stephan Sterns returning to the complex, and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time.
So here, I want to put this a little bit to bed here. So Janine, thank you for putting that post up. She says there's also reports saying that she had massive head injuries. In the police, if the police saw that in a car and then that's how they knew she was dead, they're just not saying. I don't know, Janine, about these reports because nothing has been released from the autopsy. So I don't know where you're hearing this from. I'd like to know where the source of that is. But I know for a fact, and Ed, you know this too, because you scour we look at this case. We look every day. We check for updates. We check the Kissimmee Police Department's website, the district attorney's website. I check the Orange County Sheriff's website. And at no time were there any reports that I read that said she had a massive head injury. How about you, Ed?
No, I haven't. I have not read that. And, and they said they're not going to release the autopsy results because of Florida state law allows them to hold on to it because of domestic violence and child and so forth. We'll get the information when the case goes to court.
Right. Exactly. And we never like to go on information that's not vetted. And that I can say with extreme conviction, I've never seen it publicly put out there. And I would have to say that might fall into the realm of Jagalone Lane. Mm-hmm. Other creators or other reporters talking about stuff that sounds sensational and that they want to just put out there. I don't think anything's been leaked, and I think the only thing that's been leaked is misinformation and rumors. That's about it, folks.
Right now, these are some of the most hated people in America.
Yeah, and people are going to create up any story that fits a good narrative for an audience, and we don't do that here. So again, thank you for putting that in the chat. But I'd have to say that is at this right time right now.
Oh hell no!
All right, folks. Ed, go ahead.
No, there's a lot of rumors out there, right? And so there may be some truth to it, right? But we just don't know. And until we know, we're not going to, take a side on that.
Yeah. And to sit there and say that if it in fact isn't true is, it's not a good thing. Somebody asked, could Jennifer Soto have been polygraphed? And I take out my trusty Timmy Acosta, in God we trust, all others we polygraph. I say if they have that in their tool shed, if it's part of their toolbox, if the Kissimmee Police Department decided to polygraph them or ask them to be polygraphed, they probably did. But we don't have.
Well, I mean, they would either have to volunteer to do it, or they would have to get a court order to force them to do it. But I don't know a judge that normally would sign off on a court order for polygraph because it's inadmissible in a criminal case.
Right, exactly. So let's let the rest of this play because there's a couple of little bit more good information here.
Okay, and that jives with the 8:10, right? 8:10, you're driving back towards Kissimmee. 8:19, you get back to the complex, and Madeline Soto's in the car. So she had to be in the car when they left. So let's go back again. She's saying 8 o'clock in the morning, she saw her getting ready for school. 7:35, he was already tossing out her laptop and backpack at the dumpster, which is near the back exit of the complex, by the way. Okay. Let me bring in my guests, special guest joining us in Orlando, Florida, America's judge, retired judge of the 9th Judicial Circuit, the Honorable Belvin Perry, and also joining us, the state attorney for Palm Beach County, Dave Arenberg, who, Judge, he's a Harvard guy, okay? Harvard smarty. So we got a lot of brains here tonight between these two. Unbelievable. All right, I'll begin with you, Judge. Judge has to go first, Dave, sorry. That statement that she provided, seeing her getting ready for school at approximately 8 o'clock, is that a problem for her in terms of potential charges or liability? If not, what else do investigators need to try to demonstrate that she is perhaps involved in a cover-up, perhaps involved in disposing of her daughter's body?
So this is a former judge that he's asking this question to. And the reason I highlighted this is because it stood out to me because many people are putting their opinions out on what should be done, but this is a judge. This is a former judge, and we're going to listen to him. Ed, why are you smiling?
No, nothing.
Oh, God.
Very unfortunately for her, as a friend of mine would say, the math is not mapping with that timeline. She's in deep trouble. She has verifiable lies that does not jive with the timeline. As they uncover more, she could be facing a multitude of charges in this particular case.
Let me ask you, Dave Arenberg, what do you see as potential avenues for prosecuting Jen Soto? What would you need? What sort of evidence? And nothing related to the sex crimes. I want to deal with those separately. So just with the murder, the cover-up, the disposing of the remains.
It's good to be with you, Vinny, and with the judge. I think the judge is right about the lying. You could possibly charge her with lying to law enforcement. But the real crime that I think she could be charged with, based on what we know now, is potential child neglect charges. Now, child abuse under Florida law under Section 827.03 includes child neglect, and neglect can be a second-degree felony punishable about to 15 years in prison if a caregiver fails to provide a child with the necessary care, supervision, or services to maintain that child's physical and mental health. And if that bodily harm, which
there you go, bingo, Yahtzee, right?
Bing, 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 winner, chicken dinner. Yes, absolutely.
ATS News, I added you for this live stream, if you don't mind, as a moderator. I just want you to keep an eye on the chat because we don't really like to let any disrespect go through. I didn't see any, but I just wanted to have a couple of hands on deck. So I added you on. I hope you don't mind, Amber. I don't like to ask people to do heavy lifting without asking them first, but I think we're friendly enough where I could have just done that. So just if you could keep a lookout for any type of disrespect, you could just get rid of it, just remove it. Ed, what we just heard there from not only a judge, a former judge, but a former prosecutor, that ding, 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 ding moment right there, right, Ed?
Oh yeah. The bells were ringing. I mean, she allowed her daughter to sleep with her boyfriend in a separate bedroom. Okay. It's just crazy. I mean, she admits to it as if that is not wrong.
Right.
In her mind, it's not wrong.
And it's so wrong, right? It's wrong on so many different levels. And anybody who's not, You don't even have to be a parent here. Anybody who's a human being that has common sense would say, wait a minute, whoa, whoa, whoa. And she just says it, and she gave interviews in Spanish that we didn't play because, we're not Spanish speaking here, but she also gave interviews outside in front of her home in Spanish to, I think, Telemundo or one of the Spanish outlets. And she said the same exact nonsense. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's play that again, the ding, ding, ding moment.
Well, it's good to be with you, Vinny, and with the judge. I think the judge is right about the lying. You could possibly charge her with lying to law enforcement. But the real crime that I think she could be charged with, based on what we know now, is potential child neglect charges. Now, child abuse under Florida law under Section 827.03 includes child neglect, and neglect can be a second-degree felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison if a caregiver fails to provide a child with the necessary care, supervision, or services to maintain that child's physical and mental health. And if that neglect causes great bodily harm, which clearly occurred here, then it does rise to a secondary felony. That's the crime that she could be charged with, depending on the facts. Now, she may.
Now, Ed, could those charges be multiple for all the different times that he had raped Madeline Soto? Because she sanctioned it each time. She told them,
well,
yeah, no.
she sanctioned sleeping with her. And we would have to track down where she was at the time of each of those assaults. So now in the metadata of the videos that were captured from his phone, there would be a date, a time, and possibly GPS coordinates. And so then the investigators would have to find, okay, where was mom at the time of these attacks?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be the difficult part for the prosecutors to do. But with the metadata, it may not be difficult. So we don't know what could be brewing right now. And as you said in previous live streams, and I agreed, there could be right now a secret grand jury convened, and they could be looking at evidence as we speak on Jennifer Soto. And there's people out there, rumors that may or may not be true, that she's in a psychiatric ward getting mental health treatment. We see this with those Kansas City Chiefs fans who were found dead in the backyard of the chemist's home, right? What did he do after that? He went and sought drug treatment because he felt like he was going to be, that was going to be his save all. And we don't even know what happened in that case. I mean, I have been looking for updates on it, but we didn't hear anything. But it just seems like that's what happens to most of these possible perps. They think, well, now's the time. There was no time in the past that I really needed to check myself into a psychiatric ward. Yes, we know she was taking multiple medications for various different things. But at the end of the day, all of a sudden now the shit hits the fan and she's checking herself in, if in fact she is in a psychiatric ward. That's something that, makes me say, doesn't make sense. Look who's here. We were just talking about her before we went live. I want to say thank you to Amazing NYC for this book. She sent us, you and I, Ed, she sent 2 of these, The Truth in True Crime. I think she might have picked this because J. Warner Wallace, maybe she thought it was a distant relative of yours, Ed. But thank you.
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you for sending the book, Aunt.
Thank you. But that doesn't get you out of the empanadas.
Yeah, we need the empanadas, and they better not be sweating either. I'll tell you that right now. I want them nice and fresh, the way she brought them to my office that day.
Neglect causes great bodily harm, which clearly occurred here. Then it does rise to a secondary felony. That's the crime that she could be charged with, depending on the facts. Now, she may say that she has no intent to commit such a crime. But remember, we're not talking about intentional child abuse. We're talking about child neglect. And by its own terms, neglect doesn't mean intent. It just means that you're neglectful. And I think when you encourage your daughter to go sleep in a bed with your boyfriend in another room when you're not even there, then I think that meets the standards for child neglect.
Thank you.
Ding, 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 ding.
Thank you, counselor. Ding, 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 ding. Send the police over there. I said on the short video we uploaded today, Ed, at noon, I said that Jennifer Soto should be hogtied and dragged into the precinct. I got a lot of shit for that one too. Let's go to the super chats real quick, Ed, and then we'll finish this because this conversation is a good one. Diane, thank you for becoming a new member. Ed and I appreciate it. We appreciate all of you guys for being here. Mac Randall Jr., a member for almost a year. Good afternoon, DutyRon family. Ed, I don't know about you, but I get warm and fuzzy inside when I hear people refer to this as a family. And it is. It's a family.
It is. It's our true crime family.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Convictions Ballerina sends in $2. Thank you. ×2. So there we go. Four beans. Thank you. Convictions Ballerina. I love that screen name. Kimberly Culp, who is always here and is always supporting. She says, in some unusual cases, they don't. But this mom did. Schoolisms make me sick. I'm not sure. Maybe she's just a typo. But yeah, we agree. Jennifer Soto makes us physically ill. I throw up in my mouth when I see her all the time.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff. Look at that. Hi, Ed and Ron. Glad to see you're both on. You know, it's funny. Jeff and his wife, Elaine, he'll call or text me during the day, and he'll say, hey, you going on tonight? And I'm like, listen, if I go on tonight, Ed's going to have to get up at 2 a.m. So no, I'm not going.
Hey, Mel.
He loves when we go on. Thank you, Aunt, for the $5. Appreciate you. Mimi became a member, and then here, USA Kiwi. Yeah.
None that I'm aware of.
No planet known to man makes this normal. And when you look at these three guys here, I mean, Vinny's eyes are shut because it stopped, but this is a judge, former judge, and a prosecutor. They all agree that she's got some explaining to do. And Andy Simo, 100, thank you for your super sticker. I appreciate the support. Ed and I appreciate it. Hey, look, Emily again is gifting out memberships. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Emily.
Appreciate you. All right, let's let the rest of this play because we're getting close, and I want to take some live chatters if you don't mind. I know you're tired, Ed, but I want to get some questions from the audience because I don't think it's fair that they get to listen to us talk about our thoughts and opinions, and we all have different thoughts and opinions, but I'm going to allow two people to call in and ask us questions as it pertains to Jennifer Soto. So if you are ready, get your hair and makeup and get ready for camera. We're going to have two of our community folks come on in one of the rare live streams that we do this, and I'm going to get you guys to come on in and ask some questions. But let's listen to the rest.
All right, let's get to that. Let's take a look at that because this, again, is part of the statement that was made by Jen Soto. She stated while they were together, they would either all sleep in the same bed or Madeline would sleep with her when Stephan wasn't there. When asked if it was normal that Stephan and Madeline sleep together without her being there, she said yes. Jen Soto stated if she needed a good night's sleep due to her anxiety, she would ask them to sleep in a different bedroom.
Oh, hell no.
So, Judge, what would be necessary? How could you prove that she had any idea what was happening to her daughter? Would you need that to connect her to any of the, to connect Jen Soto to any of the sex crimes? I think that's the biggest question people have. Can she be connected to what Stephan Sterns was doing? Or do you need something more here than just allowing it to happen or sending them into the other room?
The problem that the state is going to have is connecting her with the sex crimes. Currently now, based upon what has been given to the public, and that's out in the public domain, we can't say what actually occurred besides her sleeping in the same bed. Logically, one could conclude that, but that's not enough proof at this time.
Hey, do you see how they were listing, and we showed this many times, that document? You see how they were listing the actual dates and times that these crimes were committed with the photos and videos? We know over 400 photos and or videos on Stephan Sterns' Google Drives, his actual devices. Remember he did the, I got a new I got a new phone and I reset it. I factory reset it by mistake.
Yeah.
He's
It
full of shit.
wasn't new. It was supposed to be, I was updating the new operating system and I don't know what I did. And
Yeah.
I factory reset it. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't work that way there, Sherlock.
Exactly.
I suspect that's the reason why this case is still being investigated and that they're taking a very close look at the mother. That's just not normal for that young lady to sleep with this guy, particularly when you look at the breaks between the dates of the sexual assaults. You have a break, then you have the assaults renewed. There's a lot going on that we don't know, and she holds the answers to those questions.
She does. And then the question is she no longer speaking? Where is she? What is she saying at this point? Okay. So the bottom line here, what I'm hearing from both of you is that false statements to police, potentially, child neglect, potentially. When we come back, let's talk about proving the case for the sexual abuse against Stephan Sterns.
That won't be hard. It's in the video.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just waiting. There's no commercial, but I just wanted to. This is now the parts of the police interview, and it's in a very abbreviated version, but we get to hear them highlight some of the missteps in this. So get ready to throw up in your mouth again. Brenda, good to see you, Brenda Redmond. And why did he come back to town for her birthday and just get full access to her? You know, that I brought that up on 2 nights ago when I was with Oblivious Benson. And for those of you who are live here today, who caught that show, The Dark Secrets of Stephan Sterns and Jennifer Soto, that was a great one. Oblivious Benson is just like an internet sleuth extraordinaire. But we talked about this. Why did he come back when he was gone? By his own admission to the police, he was gone from December of 2023 to go back to Northport, Florida, to his parents' house. And then he came back just February 26th on that date at night, the night she was having that celebration with her family, and then killed her. Was he gone because she told him, I've had enough of you raping me and having your way with me. If you don't get out of here, I'm telling on you and I'm telling on my mother. And did he possibly run away from the situation and figure out of sight, out of mind? And then all of a sudden decide, you know what? She's not going to control me. I'm coming back. And he came back with a mission one last time and then did away with her. That's a possibility, but it's not confirmed. That's just my thoughts. What do you think, Ed?
Well, like I said, I go with the evidence. I follow the evidence, and you know, we have to look at that digital evidence. What's on his phone? What are the text messages? What are the emails? What are the phone calls made between him and the victim, and him and the victim's mother? What preceded this to bring him back into this? Did he attend the party? Right.
Yeah.
So we have to find all of this information and drill down on it.
Right. Yeah. And again, the evidence on the surface here shows that he came back one day and this crime was committed in that time frame of when he came back. He said he came back 8 p.m. the night, Sunday night of that party, and she was discovered Friday dead. But she was gone that morning. So he wasn't even there 12 hours. And Madeline Soto comes up dead. So.
She brings a lot of joy. She's a very good girl. It definitely doesn't feel the same around here if she's not here. She was so happy too. She was looking forward to my visit here. She was looking forward to us all being together. She was just happy. She was just very happy. I loved her like she was my own.
Madeline Soto was not happy. She's telling her friends at age 13 she wanted to go live out in the woods, away from this monster and away from her mother. A lot of charges. He's been charged with her murder, but the first trial will be the sex abuse case. Those charges: sexual battery on a child under 12, 8 counts; sexual battery child 12 to 18, 5 counts; lewd or lascivious molestation, 7 counts; unlawful possession of materials depicting sexual performance by a child, 10 or more images, 40 counts of that. You take a look at the sex abuse, and I mean, it just goes on and on. Look at these dates. All these years, you've got one going all the way back to when she was about 8 years old. It is just unconscionable. Now, what I want you to take a look at now is Google Drive is found, right? Several images and videos were located which depicted an apparent child with her breasts, her private parts, front and back, as the focal point of the pictures and videos, all right? Kind of zooming in on these parts. There were also pictures and videos depicting an apparent child's bottom, front, and mouth being penetrated.
Again, this is, we covered this. These are really tough to listen to, and I'm gonna kind of like skip over this, even though we all know what it says here in this document. His Google Drive is a horrific thing for not just investigators to look at, but just to think about what he did to her over the course of arguably 7 years. Now, we know that he came back there with a purpose, and that purpose, and people are saying, well, what's the motive? What's the motive? We don't know. We're just left to guess. But the purpose that he came back for is to kill Madeline Soto. Obviously, he did it. And he was only there from his admission from 8 o'clock that night, Sunday night. So I would say that he probably didn't even attend that function. He probably just came back there with a purpose and came back and had access to that home. And why, Ed, you said, why in God's name would Jennifer Soto choose to work on the night that she had a party celebrating her daughter's 13th birthday? It wasn't her birthday. We know it was earlier in the week, but she has this party, and you said it great. Why? Why wouldn't you just work it around your schedule? You don't have one day off. If you're not having the party on the day of her birthday, what would be the difference if you had it 5 days from Sunday? You're off on Tuesday. You're off on Wednesday. Have it then when you, her mother, can attend it. So all of these things are really, really things that make you go, like why the F would she not be at her daughter's birthday celebration? So, and again, that's her story. She was working. Is that story true? Was she at work? Is it verified that she was at work? And someone said in the chat, Ed, do you think that they went to Northport, Florida, on the West Coast in Brian Laundrie country and searched the parents' home where he was residing? Ed, you're a senior crime scene investigator.
I would do it. I would absolutely would do it. I'd get a warrant, get over there. You don't know, like I said, you have to get all the digital evidence. You have to search everything. Text messages, emails, cell phone calls. All right. Does he have a computer there? What else is over there? Did he bring trophies of his conquest? Does he have child porn photographs buried or hidden over there? Did he write stuff? Does he have a journal? You would want to find all of this. So leaving no stone unturned means you get a warrant and you get over there to where he was staying all that time leading up to her death. And
you could bet your bottom dollar this pervert didn't just mute and silence his sexual activities when he was with his parents. And
we know he was visiting these sites. We have that record. We have all of his IP address popping up all over the place. Okay.
Right.
So.
All right, let me let the rest of this play, and then we'll take two people to call in.
A majority of these photographs and videos showed Madeline in different sexual positions. Stephan and the victim in Stephan's room, which consisted of them. for identification purposes. But then when she was shown the photos of her daughter being abused, she said, I don't recognize any of this. They also made a request for DNA material, and she had identified them for identification purposes.
So yeah, I mean, if you read this document, and then I'll post the link to it in the description. Here's the document that's on court papers. Yes, stated Jennifer Soto, if she needed a good night's sleep due to her anxiety, she would ask them to sleep in a different bedroom. Orange County detectives had previously shown photographs of Stephan Sterns' penis for identification purposes. He did not, and this is Jennifer Soto, did not want to believe that Maddie and Stephan were engaged in sexual activity. So here in these documents, she's saying that she's in denial. Like, there's no way that could be happening. Come on, lady, give me a break. You've been letting him for years sleep when you have your anxiety in a separate room, and giving that sanction that you could go and sleep with her while I'm not home in the same room. It's crazy. It's crazy. Witchcraft asks DutyRon, has his parents been interviewed? I would imagine yes, right, Ed?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. We would say 100,000% that Stephan Sterns' parents, even though they're elderly, detectives came and knocked on their door and talked to them. Hey, what did your son do? Hey, do you notice any patterns? Hey, did anything stand out to you? Absolutely, absolutely. And he talked bad about them. Shame on this guy. He called them senile, deaf people. He was making those references to the detectives in that audio interview to the Kissimmee detectives. And he was like, yeah, you don't know what it's like to be around senile, old, deaf people. Shame on you. Those are your parents. And if they're old and they can't hear and you're there to take care of them, you should be taking care of them, not talking shit about them. What do you got, Ed?
Okay, yeah, they would definitely be going through Maddie's laptop that was thrown in that dumpster. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
they retrieved it. They're going to download everything. They're going to copy that hard drive. They're going to look at everything that's on there, any place she's ever visited. They're going to look at her social media accounts, see who she's talking to and what she's saying. They're going to have it all.
Right. Exactly. Schmitty's in the chat as well, saying hello. And there's Schmitty, picture of her mom. God bless her.
Hey, Schmitty. Swing sweat.
Swing sweat. Scott Messerschmidt is in the building. Hi, DutyRon and Ed and everybody. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Hey, and I want to just take a moment to say thank you to everybody. Ed and I, we give thanks and praise to you guys for subscribing here. We're at over 310,000 subscribers now. Ed, isn't that amazing? We just broke 300,000 a week or two ago, and boom, here we are at 310. You guys are what makes this a great place. So shout out to the live chatters and the replay viewers and the moderators. Thank you so much for being here. So Amazing Ant says what?
Do you think they vouchered Jennifer's phone? Now, vouchered, folks, is an NYPD term where we seize property and then we have to do certain paperwork, and then some other jurisdictions may call it book it into evidence, right, or book it for safekeeping. Yeah, I think they got a warrant and seized that phone. I think initially they asked her for it and they took it and they held on to it because they didn't want anybody dumping. So that would be an emergency exception to a search warrant where you feared that somebody could potentially destroy or delete evidence that might be on the phone. And then they'll seize it and then get a warrant and then have it legally there in their possession to download and look at all the digital.
And I think, Ed, too, early on in this, they had that ruse going on. They were making up that story for the first couple of days. So they both were comfortable enough to, Stephan handed his phone over to him. And remember what he said? Oh, my parents, they could be contacting me. So can I have that back soon? Like he shit a brick when he gave the female detective says, we're going to hold on to this phone for a little bit. But we'll give it back to you when we're done. And he was like, oh, when do you think I could get that back? I think that Jennifer, if she was asked, and we always like to see a court order on a seizure of a phone and obviously going through a phone. But if she signed off and signed a paper giving consent to give that phone up early, and I think that I'm sure that the possibility is strong that Jennifer Soto did that. But like Ed said, you always want to do it the legal way, right? So I put in the chat the StreamYard link. We got to keep it to Jennifer Soto being arrested, this case, and not anything else. So if you want to join in, enable your camera, enable your audio, and come in and join. And there is our first friend, New Jersey Robin. Engage the camera, and we're going to take the questions. #Ed, #DutyRon.
Hello, guys. How are you? Happy Memorial Day.
Yes.
Thank you all for everybody's service and all
Hey,
who are
Robin,
still
thank you.
serving us.
How are you, Robin?
I'm pretty good for a 70-year-old.
All right.
Still hanging in there the best I can.
God bless you. God bless you. What's your question as it pertains to Jennifer Soto?
Well, I'm sorry I've missed all your lives. I've been really hooked up on this other case. You know what I'm talking about. But I wanted to say this. I don't know if I'm allowed to, but like his character and what he was like before and all, Gray Hughes compiled it into one video. He had like 4 or 5 different friends that grew up with him, that knew him. So if anybody wants to see what he was like.
Yeah, I kind of saw that Court TV profiled that, and I think they had Gray Hughes on with him. But yeah, I mean, it's always fascinating to hear about his past and his roommates. And there's a bunch of people who interviewed former and past roommates and people who knew him from the past. And, we got a good glimpse from Oblivious Benson 2 nights ago about his online presence and about how he was into all of these different little figures and figurines. And, he was just a weird dude. He wasn't like a normal adult. He's playing with Chinese or Japanese figurines and so forth. And he's like,
it's called anime.
Whatever.
Yeah,
weird shit. And I'm like, I don't have time for anime. I'm not saying that it's wrong that anybody else is into that, but I'm just saying, as a grown adult, that I'm more concerned about going to work and doing my job. He's playing with animes and figurines and things like that, and she was like that too. But
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing it out, Robin. I appreciate that.
But I do have a question about that. Now, will the police go and talk to all these people? Because one of the people that were on there dated him very short period of time. She had 2 children. She said she never wanted to bring her children around him, but he kind of kept saying, when I'm going to meet your children. And she said, I don't do that when I date. And the very few encounters she had with him, intimate, she said he was very rough with her. He kept wanting her to call him daddy and dress inappropriate, like a little kid.
Yeah, I mean, they'll definitely, if they feel that it's, if it will enhance the case, they're going to talk and interview everybody and anybody possible. And that's one of the reasons why I frown upon putting on people who could be on YouTube or on any kind of social media if they could be potential a witness or some type of help in prosecution. You don't ever want to chance that. So that's one of the primary reasons Ed and I kind of stick to talking about the true crime from a police detective's perspective. And we don't really want to interview somebody who has inside information about a potential child rapist, murderer, and so forth. There's no benefit to highlighting them out on a public live stream. I would just refer them to the district attorney or the investigating officers, right, Ed? I mean, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, they should definitely, if they have something that's pertinent to the case, they should come forward to the police and make their identities known. And then the police will figure out if it's probative or not. If it's just, because sometimes it could be deemed too prejudicial and it, to be brought out into court. But, it establishes a history of his deviance. Okay. Right. So that may be important. Like, understand that somebody said something about him raiding porn on Pornhub and getting
Bruce
award.
Spencer said he had all the various rate. He was like the top rater of different porn and stuff. He was like had these
Yeah,
trophies.
makes me sick.
Yeah, it's sickening. But so New Jersey, Robin, you get it. We
he
we
did.
were,
They all contacted the authorities as soon as they heard what happened. Before they went on Grey Hughes, they gave their name and all the information
all right,
about
so then
them.
the questions, then the question that you presented, you were saying should they have gone or should they interview them, but they all got interviewed.
No,
So
I'm
that's
wondering if the police will interview them now that, like, even more that they know everything that happened. You know what I mean? What they have the evidence. Will they now go and like talk to them more?
good. Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just to dot the I, cross the T, and have it in the case folder.
Because there could be other victims, is what I was thinking. That's why I wanted to ask.
That's
Absolutely.
right, exactly right. You got to look at any other children that he may have had access to.
Any engagement that he had with anybody, they want to look at everything. They'll do a complete victimology going back to his early times, as far back as they can go, because this is a guy who we have to say that the Madeline Soto wasn't his first victim and probably wouldn't have been his last if he didn't get collared. So yeah, you look at everything. And New Jersey, Robin.
All right, thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful day. I'm going to drop down.
We love
Okay,
you.
take care.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
for all you do. Stay safe. Watch your back and watch your six. Bye.
All right, you got it.
Bye-bye. I love it. I love New Jersey, Robin. She's awesome. All right, this will be the last one. Jay from Guilty of Crime, who is awesome sauce. She again has some connections to and has talked to many people in the circle. But I'd love to hear her question as it pertains to Jennifer Soto and should she be arrested. And I know that she's been an advocate for justice for Madeline Soto for a long, long time. And we're going to add her to the stage as soon as she gives the thumbs up. All right, double thumbs up. Hey, Jay, good to see you. Thanks for joining.
Hey, good
Ed,
to
welcome.
see you both. Welcome. Hey, Ed, I've been watching both of you for a while and I appreciate it. Yeah, I love how you just go straight for the facts and cut out all the BS, right?
Bullshit. You could say it. You could curse here.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah, we cut out all the bullshit.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
This is the no jagaloon zone.
Yeah.
No jagaloon zone. And, that brings me to the question, do you think that, no jagaloons allowed, do you think that Stephan Sterns was at the party? And then after you answer, I'll tell you.
Well, I saw your message in the chat and I already know. So I'm going to be, because I'm honest, I'm not going to tell you that I don't know. You said that he wasn't. So here's the thing. When he did that audio interview and said he got in and he wasn't sure, we don't know, obviously, obviously he's full of shit. He's not being truthful in that audio interview because he's making up his conjured up story, right? So his mind is saying, well, I got in about 8, but they'll be able to check the DOT cameras. They'll be able to check his car movements, and they'll actually, as detectives do, match up his bullshit to say, hey, you're full of fucking shit, guy. So if he got there, in fact, at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and that party wrapped up at 6 or 7, or it was a school night, I don't think that families, well, I would hope that families wouldn't have a 13-year-old up at midnight on a school night. Like, any good parent would say, okay, we'll have dinner and cake or coffee and cake, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. I don't know. I don't know the times, but the detectives know. They know.
Well,
They do.
I heard the family member took her home.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: is I talked to the advocates of Tyler and Tatiana Wallace and the family that was at the birthday parties that said he was absolutely not there, and the reason that he was moving out. And this is not Jagaloon style. This is because this is what happened. Yolanda Zambrano, the mom, was getting creeper feelings from him and wanted him out. So he had to go back and forth. So they didn't think he was staying there. If you look up his house, or if you look up her house.
Yolanda J is who? Whose mom?
Is grandma. Yolanda Zambrano is a grandma that held the birthday party, and she did not want Stephan there. He wasn't there. The family members already talked to cops, but I also talked to a source that talked to those people, which is tied to Tyler and Tatiana, who are the bio dad and stepmom that you saw at the vigil.
Yeah, I saw them.
Yeah. Now the house, if you look up the house, the condo that she lived in, dad owned it, Juan, and he put it up for sale twice because, and I believe as the ex-roommate said and Yolanda said, they didn't want him there. They want Stephan Sterns there, and they were threatening to sell the house and get rid of it if she didn't move him out. That's the only reason he was pretending.
Dirty and creepy, right?
He was dirty, creepy, filthy, and he didn't work. He had nothing to bring to the table. He was a slob.
He's a bum.
Yeah.
He's a fucking
He's a
bum.
slob. Yeah, fucking bum is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a lot of your community is here in the chat. We share a lot of the subscribers, and I know I've sent over my people. I've linked you in the description of the chat last night, the 2 nights ago. It took me a little time because it's Memorial Day weekend, and I've been running around, so I apologize for not. Like I said, oh, give me 10 minutes, but I freaking fell asleep. I had to go and travel to 100 miles to see my stepmom the next day. So I did get it. I got to it last night. So I linked you, and I actually tagged you in the description of that video. But yes, go ahead, Ed.
I'm thinking, he showed up at that house. Okay. And they weren't expecting him.
Right. That's a potential, right?
Yeah, that's potential.
Because he was gone from his account, and I don't know if we could believe his bullshit. He said he went back to take care of his parents, and Jay, you heard him talk shit about his parents, that they're
absolutely about the poodles and they're nasty and and
then enough to drive you crazy. What the fuck? What? That's your parents. So he goes to Northport, Brian Laundrie country, West Coast, drives across the state, goes across the state and up north to show up at this location, right? And everybody was like, "Ooh, what the fuck? What is this?"
Right.
And so he came there with a reason and a purpose.
He did come there with a reason and a purpose. And as much as I don't believe many of his lies, I do believe that he was at the house around 8:30 waiting for Madeline to get back because he was not allowed at that birthday party. He knew it would wrap up early, and either Jen Soto was sleeping and or maybe she was awake if she was involved.
What about her work story?
Oh, so she was on disability SSI. She was collecting everything she could. Her work story is bullshit. Why she didn't make it? Because she could have made it if she wanted to. She was working from home, hustling under the table, and she was also working the minimum amount. She also worked at Disney, and it closed. It closes no later than 10. She was working as a wedding planner in that section of wedding planning that does not stay open later than that. So she would have been home at 10, 11, the very latest.
For not being at her daughter's birthday party then if she was home.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think that she was jealous and there was some involvement. Also, she was always in the room, and now all three of them were always in the room together, 4 bedrooms, but all of them were in the same room. And then you hear all this kinky things coming out about both of them, and you're like, why? Like now in hindsight.
Yeah. Things just don't make sense. And I have a feeling she's going to be hearing this soon.
He's feeling it. Let's go.
We might as well rock out to that. Ed almost fell off his chair, for Christ's sake. So
I lost my mouse.
Jay, just so you know, Ed is in Morocco now. He's doing his army training with the folks over there. He's teaching them forensics and so forth. So he's there.
I love Ed.
Yeah, he's been there for over a month, right? Over a month, Ed?
Yeah, I've been here over a month.
Look who's in the chat.
Yeah.
Just by chance.
Oblivious. What's up? I talked to her this morning. Well, we emailed this morning.
Snap. I popped in just in time. What's up? He's ready to collab. All right. So there's so much more to the story that we're now, learning and finding out. And again, the police, if Jay knows it and she's talking about it with folks that are close advocates for the family and so forth, I would love to just privately talk to the father and just maybe give him some advice here, because he's a former military guy. Ed and I would love to just, not on a live stream, but just to talk to him, to kind of just get a feel and a vibe for what he knew about this or what he didn't know about it, and just to get a little better of an understanding from a detective's perspective. And
absolutely, Tatiana is too. Tatiana is in the military as well, and they're torn apart. Yeah, I
I-
would tell them also. I mean, you guys could sympathize with them being in the field because they're like like they can barely talk. When they do, they cry.
Yeah,
And so,
emotional.
you know,
It's disturbing on so many different levels. But again, that's his flesh and blood. That's his baby. That's his daughter. So
right. I will talk to the advocate that I work with and
yeah,
ask her if he'd be willing. I'm sure he would. I'm sure he's selective, but I mean, he talked to the news once. But you guys are, New York police detectives, former forensic. I'm sure he would love to talk to y'all, even behind the scenes. I mean, especially behind the scenes.
Ed J has investigated over 2,500 crime scenes in his career,
I
and he's a forensic.
absolutely.
He worked in the medical examiner's office after he retired in the forensics lab. He's the white
Yes, I
coat
listened to.
you see and look on CSI on TV, but he's the real life shit, right, Ed? So
He
let me
is the real life shit.
hold on, Ed.
Stop breathing down my neck.
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole, Ron.
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
I love you.
Okay.
Ed and I, we have the best cop relationship and friends. We're good friends now, and
He's my brother from another mother.
exactly the amount of information that Ed has taught, not just only myself but this whole community. It's made the true crime enthusiasts that are watching us so much more educated when it comes to crime scene and evidence preservation and how these scenes get processed. And I mean, the amount of information that has been shared with Ed, with Ed being here is just tremendous. So yeah, I mean, I thank you so much for coming up here. I know Ed's got to go. It's late at night for him.
You're
over there.
good. I appreciate it.
Jay, I want to do a dedicated live stream with you and Oblivious Benson, and maybe we could get Ed when he's back on U.S. soil.
Yes, I want to hear for his forensics. I listen to his forensic talk. I mean, I used to watch Forensic Files nonstop, back to back, but his is much better and it's more real and uncut. So, but
thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm in for it. You Oblivious. I've been talking to her.
I'm gonna email you my cell phone number. I'm gonna get you my number so we could talk, and then we'll work it out and we'll do something, because there's so much more to talk about the dark web and the searches that this creep and these two. I think that we have hours worth of conversation to go over as it pertains to that.
We do, right. Yeah.
I'm starting to drop some F-bombs here. My African Gray is in the room with me, so I'm gonna let you run. Jay,
all right, folks.
Check out her
you.
YouTube channel. I'm gonna link it in the description. Most of you guys already subscribed, but if you're not, go and check out her content, because she's doing great stuff on there. And keep on doing what you're doing. And anytime you have any questions, you can. Once I give you my contact information, go and ask me.
Absolutely.
Same here.
Yep.
All right, Ed. Nice meeting you. Thank you, DutyRon. I'll just call you Ron. I'll talk to you all soon.
Thank you,
Ron and Ed. Have a good one.
Right.
Take care.
All right. Take care. There she goes, Jay. What an awesome advocate for justice. Like, and all of her streams, when I go and look at them, I looked at a handful of them. Every one of the streams, it says justice from Madeline Soto, and she's there to bring the truths out as best as she knows. And she's not somebody, from what I see, that's going to try to spill the beans and give out information that would be sensitive to the case. And that's what I like about her, is that she holds back on some of the sensitive information, just like we would encourage people to do. And when New Jersey Robin came on and talked about Gray Hughes, and like, our channel's not made up of interviewing potential witnesses and people who have information. I've actually told several people, and Ed, you did it too. No, we're not you can't come on here. Your case is active. You can't come and talk. And we refer them to either the victim's advocate or the district attorney's office. And that's how it's supposed to be done, Anyways, Ed, thank you for being here. And again, when you come home, there's going to be a huge celebration, fireworks display, everything. Ed back on U.S. soil. Everyone's going to be happy to have you back here. But thank you for hanging out with us for an hour and 14 minutes here. And I want to say, on behalf of Crime Time with DutyRonand Ed Wallace, we send strength, prayers, and positive vibes to all of the victims and their families on all of these cases that we talk about. But today, on Memorial Day, we give thanks and praise to the men and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice, who gave their life while serving to protect our freedoms. So guys and girls, don't forget our military personnel who are no longer here with us on Memorial Day. Empanadas for everybody.
Empanadas all around.
Ed, I know you got something to say before we wrap it up.
All right, folks, thanks for being with us tonight. We had over 3,500 people come on live with us. Appreciate your time. We know you have other places you can be and go and get your true crime fix. And thank you for joining us here. Thank you for spreading the word about Ron and I and our channel here, our family, our true crime family. You are our family, okay? And just want to tell you, always stay safe, stay prepared, and watch your six. I'll see you back home in a little over 2 weeks.
Excellent, Ed. We're looking forward to that. And yes, thank you all for being here. Thank you to the replay viewers, the new subscribers, the folks who hit that thumbs up, the folks who buy us cups of coffee. So many of those have been coming in. Patreon supporters, channel members, subscribers. We love you. We don't take it for granted. We are honored and humbled by your subscription. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Stand by for a message from the cop team. Kara, this guy Oscar upstairs barking, I hear him, and Popeye belting out the F-bombs left and right because he hates Stephan Sterns and Jennifer Soto. Don't you, Popeye? Fuck yeah. Oh, that wasn't him. That was me. Good night, guys. Take care.